Hello, this is Mama Razzle Dazzle here. I'm going to show you how to make a latex-free pizza. Okay, so first I have a KitchenAid mixer, and it's pretty old, but it works good. I noticed on some new mixers they have latex parts, and you cannot have that. Not any part of it. If the feet are rubber, you can take them off and put on, have somebody take them off for you, or put it on a pad so that you never have it rubbing around on your kitchen counter. Okay, if it's just sitting stationary on like a pot holder forever, that's one thing. But if it's new, the rubber that's new could actually bother you because there's parts of it that are going to break down. Okay, so there are a couple different attachments here. This is a regular flat beater. There's also a whisk beater, and I have a dough hook, so I'm going to get that and put that on. Okay, so the dough hook is much better for making bread. I'm going to take 1 cup of warm water. It's not too hot because we don't want to kill the yeast. And we have a yeast here that's fast rise, and it's by Hodgkin Mills. It's from Illinois. And this place actually has no latex in anything they do in any of their grains. So I use their yeast. I buy like 2 boxes at a time, so I have enough for a couple months. They also have a better for bread flour, but this year there seems to have been some kind of problem with the unbleached flours and things, so they don't have any available right now. So my other option is to use 3.5 cups of King Arthur bread flour. Now I just emailed them and got an answer back that they do not use any natural rubber latex at all around these flours, including they went down so far as to tell me that besides no gloves, they don't use rubber earplugs, rubber glasses, and I don't know, they gave me a whole list of other things that was astounding, like that they really must understand the latex allergy. So I was really glad to hear that. And I have eaten bread dough that I made with this flour. So far I've used 3 bags of it, and it gave me no problems at all. So the bread flour is the best thing for the pizza dough because it has a little bit extra protein in it, and it really makes a difference how things taste and the texture of the bread. And I'm just going to add about a quarter of a cup of this is Land O'Lakes butter with canola oil. I never had any trouble with this either, and I've been using it for quite a few years, so I don't actually have any documentation about it right now. It says it's latex free, but I think we years ago got some okay from them. Okay, so what we're going to do then is once the butter. Now if you don't have canola oil butter like this, you can just use a 1/4 cup of canola oil. So it's 3.5 cups of flour, a cup of water, and a package of yeast. And the brands I use are safe for me. So I don't know, I have to be really careful what I eat. If I touch it, eat it, breathe it, I'm having an anaphylactic reaction to latex. So far this has been a totally safe pizza for me. Alrighty, so we're just going to let it mix there. And usually we let it mix for about 8 minutes until it's all in a ball, and the ball of dough cleans off the edge of the bowl. So the sides of the bowl should basically be licked clean by the dough. So I'm going to let that go for a few minutes and we'll be back. Okay, so we did about 8 minutes of beating. Around 4 or 5 minutes I turned the speed up 1 more notch to mix the dough. Now you can see that the bowl is kind of kept clean. It's all in the dough. When you take the dough off of the hook, use a clean spoon. You can use your hands, but you need to really make sure that you have washed your hands and dried them, and that there's absolutely no possibility that there's latex in there. That's one of the reasons I don't usually eat food that's made with anyone else's hands but mine, because there's just, you have to be 100% sure that this food is not handled in any way with latex. Okay, so now I'm going to take a tea towel and put that over the dough and let it raise for about a half hour to an hour. In the meantime, I have pulled a bag of ground up mozzarella cheese. It's shredded. You also need to make sure you have latex-free cheese. Now, I had some cheese from Aldi's a long time ago when I was just trying to figure out what I could eat and who makes what I could eat, and I had a very bad reaction from that. So that cheese was probably contaminated with latex gloves. So in my town, I'm very lucky to have a store that just makes mozzarella and provolone cheeses. Every day you can get fresh mozzarella, and then you can also get like day old, they call it. It's just mozzarella. It's been drying, and it's more like what you get in the store. So since they don't use any latex gloves at all, when I told them about the latex allergy, they switched over to nitrile, and they don't use anything rubber in there at all. So I have been able to eat their mozzarella, provolone, and ricotta cheeses, and around Easter time they make a basket cheese that's good. So all those are safe to eat from Calandra's Cheeses of Nazareth. Now, they don't ship, but if you know someone that lives in the area, maybe you could get them to send you some. Or if you have a local cheese store, you can explain to them, your problem and see if they will change. A lot of times a smaller store is much easier to change than a chain store. Okay, so I'm defrosting my cheese. I usually buy like 4 balls of it at a time, and then I grind it up and shred it in my food processor. And then I lay it nicely and flat in a bag and put it in the freezer. So I might have 4 bags in the freezer at a time. And then you can break it up. This one happens to be like, it was the end of it, and I had too much in the bag. So I'm just going to let it defrost while this dough is rising. The other thing to get ready is your sauce. So I always keep a measuring cup full of sauce in the refrigerator with the saran wrap over it. And I do that because I eat a lot of like pizza, and I also use the ricotta cheese I told you about with some sauce on, and heat it up in the microwave, and that's a nice high protein, nutritious lunch. Okay, so what I use is Hunt's sauce. Now, I have not checked with them lately how they handle things, but a long time ago they were latex safe or latex free, and I have never had any trouble using this particular sauce. So I get the one that's 28 ounces, so I can mix up a big measuring cup full of it and then just use it throughout the week. I don't keep it longer than a week, so you just gotta remember when you put it in the refrigerator and try to use it up. One of the other things I use it for is like chili or on rice, with rice and beans. So and sometimes I make little pizzas, sometimes I make bigger ones depending on who's eating with me. So what I do with the sauce is I put the whole can in the measuring cup, and then I add like 2 teaspoons of McCormick Perfect Pinch Italian. McCormick has always been safe for me to eat. A lot of dried herbs are handled with rubber gloves, so you have to be really careful. So I put that in there, and I also use sugar, like 2 teaspoons of sugar, and that helps cut the acid of the tomatoes. I'm sure if any of you are from Kentucky, the Ma Hadley skier guy on my sugar bowl looks familiar. My husband was from Illinois, and then Kentucky, and then Cincinnati, so we got to go to the Ma Hadley pottery. That was really fun. Now once the pizza is like all together and you have it all pressed out, the dough on and the cheese on, I sprinkle some oregano from McCormick on the top. So right now we're just going to let this dough raise and the cheese defrost, and then I'll show you how we make the pizza. Okay, so now our dough has risen, and I divided it in half. The amount that we made would make 2 pizzas. but I don't really want to eat pizza every day this week, so I do need some bread. And I took the 1/2 that I divided off and spread it, just pressed it out with clean washed hands onto the pizza pan. I sprayed it with Pam first. That seems to be something that's okay to use. Never had a reaction from that either. And then I put the dough that was left into this bread pan. So it's gonna raise, and what's gonna happen is we'll bake the pizza, and then it'll be risen by the time the pizza comes out. And now we're gonna take this towel and use the clean inside part, not the part that was on the counter. And we're going to cover it up. You have to operate like you're in a sterile operating room when you are making food for somebody with latex allergy. You just cannot take any chances at all. Now this this tomato sauce that I had in the refrigerator is going to go onto there, and we'll spread the sauce out. Now the other thing about the pizza dough is you can use it for like a whole week. So you can take like the half that you're not using, or the little bit that you're not using, and put it into a big Ziploc bag and put it in the refrigerator, and then you'll be able to just break off pieces to make yourself a big pizza or mini pizzas all week long. And the first thing that happens though when it goes in the refrigerator is that the yeast works, and so the bag kind of gets all blown up and big, so you have to release the gas and then you'll be good. Alright, now we got the sauce on and our cheese is defrosted, so I'm just going to sprinkle that on, and at the same time I have the oven preheating at 350 degrees. I like a lot of cheese. I did a little calorie count because I'm counting calories, and if you use 8 ounces of cheese, which is a 1/2 pound, and you use about a cup of sauce and 1 of the pizza dough, so if you divide it in half, each slice will be about 375 calories if you cut it into 6 pieces. Okay? It's just good to know, and actually it's hard to, you never think pizza is going to be that high in calories, but it is. The cheese helps it, but it's actually really good for you. This whole pizza has nothing chemical and nothing bad for you. And they always say, the dietitians say pizza is a well-balanced meal because you've got the vegetables, the grains, and the milk group on there. So we're going to put it in this oven here on the bottom shelf because that'll make it crispy. If you like a soft pizza on the bottom, you put it on the top shelf. Alright, and so in 25 minutes, 25 to 30, we'll come and check on it. And then the bread will probably be ready to go in because it's already raising here a little bit. Okay, so I'll meet you back here in 30. Okay, so our pizza's done. I'm going to pull it out. And it looks delicious, and it will be delicious. If you like your cheese a little darker, you can, bake it longer. Now we're gonna put the loaf of bread in. See how nice that raised up? We're gonna put it in there for 25 minutes, and we'll come back out and we'll have a nice loaf of bread for tomorrow. Or even tonight if you want a little snack. So my mom's ready to eat. So we're just gonna cut into this lovely pizza. I'm gonna make it into 6 slices so we know what the calorie count will be. And I really like this pan. This is one of my favorites from King Arthur. They really make nice heavy pans, and things bake very evenly. They're easy to cook. Okay, so there's dinner. I'll take out the bread and show you that in a few minutes. Thank you for watching this part. Okay, I actually just finished eating that wonderful pizza. and the timer went off that the bread's ready. So here's the bread. And how do we know it's ready? You knock on it and it sounds hollow. Okay. Okay. This is also one of those pans from King Arthur, and the bread just comes right out of the pan. Just like that. Very nice. Great pan. And we're going to have bread for a snack tonight or toast tomorrow. Okay, so we used the pizza dough for the pizza, which is almost gone, and for the bread. Now, like I said, if you don't want to make a loaf of bread, which is really fine, take that dough and put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the refrigerator, and you can break off pieces of it to make pizza dough all week long. Okay, thanks for watching, and help it, just seeing how we do latex-free food by always washing our hands and not like handling the bread flour outside bag and then touching something else before we wash our hands. It's like cooking in an operating room. Okay, now you have a wonderful day, and I hope you make some pizza. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.